Did you know that Case and Huff and Schleter has been servicing customers in the tri-state area for nearly 100 years? As an independent insurance agency, they have the flexibility to find the right value for your business, farm, and personal insurance needs. Case and Huff and Schleter is a locally owned agency. Their agents and support team are ready to help. Give them a call or find them on Facebook. Case and Huff and Schleter, proud sponsor of the Muddy River News Business Spotlight. Welcome to the Muddy River News Business Roundtable. I'm Bob Goff, and our program is sponsored by Case and Huff and Schleter Insurance. My guest today is Trevor Beck, local businessman who has several businesses we're going to talk about today, some of whom are Muddy River News sponsors. Hello, sir.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for stopping by. I think in researching the program and talking about you, not like I need to do a lot of research, I've known you forever, but I think the Harvey story. I think is really interesting because that is a successful family business. It's been around for a long, long time, and you were plenty busy with other stuff. You've had other business ventures going or whatever, but you stepped up and decided you wanted to keep this family business going. And obviously, Harvey's meant a lot to you, and you've made a great impact with what they're doing.
Yeah, so I, as you know, I'm in banking, of course. Been there for 16 years, so I really didn't have any intention of getting into the furniture industry per se. I've always been involved with it, but not to this degree. It's been, I guess I'm the fourth generation owner, so looking at kind of the other options that were on the table, I had some relatives that were involved in the store, and there was just there was never really a definite plan on where to go with it. So we looked at some options to try to come up with an option, and nothing was really coming to light that was the obvious path. So I don't know what got into me, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to take this on and just kind of run with it, and that's where we are. So, yeah, February of 2020 was the actual transition date over. And then, 2 months later, COVID hit. I hate even saying that word because I feel like we're past it, but
good timing.
Yeah, so it was there was some throat gulps in there for sure, yeah. But at the same time, I mean, all kidding aside, I'm really humble to say, like, Quincy. I mean, I have been obviously born and raised in this town. I've been in that store since I was, as long as I can remember, being obviously involved with the family, but it was just a really cool, and to this day, I mean, it's unbelievable. We're really, really grateful with the community that's stepped in to receive the new perception of it, and just it's been a lot of fun. So.
Well, again, every time I walk in the store and you just you've got a good the fantastic selection, and your things are always churning over. Your business obviously you get a lot of churn, and then you go downstairs to what I call the fun room, where all the cool stuff that maybe been sitting there for a bit, but like I said, this table that you and I are sitting at right now is there, and it was I just thought it was beautiful, and I thought it made for a perfect broadcast area. And it's worked out great. And you guys are also you have really been full service to where not only the delivery, but, with the staging and having people kind of decide what matches with what. I think one of the things we looked at when we were buying our setup and the chairs that we're sitting in, we had some other chairs set up and that picked out. And then, of course, as you have had to deal with this whole thing, it was like a supply chain issue or whatever. And then so, your salesperson said, well, we got these, and I really like those instead. Mm-hmm. And she said, well, they're a little more expensive, but since you had these other ones, we can do this and that. I'm like, great, sold, give them to me. And I love these. As a matter of fact, my wife wants to steal them for the house, but I don't think we can do that. So, but anyway, I think that, again, talking about, I think people in Quincy and towns like Quincy, I know, everything's online and Amazon and yada, yada. I really think when it comes down to it, people still want to do business with their friends and neighbors.
Oh, absolutely. And, I do that. I mean, I think we all do that to some degree. There's certain things I get it. It's easier to buy online, but when it comes to service behind the sale, I mean, that has, again, I've always grown up with that in my mindset. And with anything I've done, being in the bank, I mean, community banking is that way. I mean, it's just being able to help someone. They pick up the phone, they call you. whether they call me about a car loan or a multi-million-dollar commercial loan. I mean, it's just the ability that someone can pick up the phone, call you, reach you, text you, whatever it may be. And that, in my opinion, is the difference in a a community sale versus something online.
Because you can go down the hall to Gary and say, hey, what do you think about this? And you guys can hammer out something in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go to a big bank where you've got to go to Chicago or New York for some answer, it just doesn't seem to fly. And of course, doing business with a town and country, and of course Central State Bank, they're one of our sponsors as well, and Mike Kincherson, part owner of Muddy River News, and Chuck Ganuzzi over United State, and it goes on and on with all these great local banks we have around here. That it really, Quincy doesn't have. We had Bank America for a while, then they bolted, and Quincy, I think, has such a great system of all the local banks who can provide what local folks need. I think it's. People talk, well, why don't we have a Chase? Why don't we have a Bank America? Well, do we really need one?
Right. Well, there's been instances where I have friends that have moved away. Let's say they're in Colorado or, I don't know, South Carolina or wherever it may be. A lot of times what happens is they'll expect the same service that they've had in Quincy, and they go to another state or another area. And my first advice to them is, honestly, if they can establish a relationship with a community banker, that is so, so important. I wouldn't be where I am today without a community bank.
Right.
There's just a lot of things where community banking, I hate to sound corny about that, but at the same time, it really is clutch for, especially somebody, even big customers need community banking too.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it's not just a start out person, but
right.
Being able to pick up the phone, being able to make a loan decision right here in Quincy, that's really, really important. So.
Talking about some of the other ventures and things you have going on, of course, I think one of the earliest lifts you did was Instant Replay, and you took a bar that had always a popular local bar, but it was a facility that needed a little TLC.
Oh yeah.
And
no disrespect to Jim and Lois, the previous owners. It
was always a great place to hang out.
Oh, absolutely. They owned that bar for 40 years.
Yeah.
And it was. I had no intention of getting in the bar business, to be honest with you. It was just kind of happened, and of course I built the laundromat on North 12th Street and sold that to Adam Booth, and I was kind of looking for something to do, and it just kind of fell into place. But yeah, it's been fun. All the employees there have been lots of fun. Everybody's had a lot of fun with it, and hopefully, continue to keep serving cold ones at 28th and Chestnut.
And like I said, I'd always stop in and talk politics with Jim or baseball or whatever. And I think that had you been a Cardinal fan instead of a Cub fan, you might have gotten a little better deal on it.
Yeah,
but that's
right.
just.
I don't know about that.
One of the other things that came along, of course, you added this to Replay. It was something that just Jim and Lois never wanted to do, and I respect that decision. You really kind of got in on the ground floor of the advent of gaming in Quincy.
Yes.
And that has been something that, Mayor Trope, when he first got in, it kind of looked like he was going to maybe put the clamps on a little bit. That certainly hasn't been the case.
Yeah, it's a two-way street. It's a hard decision not I should say decision. It's more of a unique topic because today I feel like I think that we're pushing 350 machines in the city of Quincy, just inside the city limits. When I started, I think we were in the 100 and some range, if that. Might have been less than that. Well, when I started, there was 2. You could only have 2, and then they changed the rules, of course, as we went on. But yeah, the gaming aspect has been really clutch for the corner bars in the state of Illinois.
It's kept them alive.
Yeah, it's kept them alive, and it's been very lucrative for some bars. Some bars it's been decent. A lot of it is just where it is, what it is, and how it is. But at the same time, it has definitely broadened the ability for bars to feel comfortable about. I would not have invested the money back into the bar knowing I wouldn't have that return.
Right.
So, you add that key part back to the bar as far as the income, and you go, okay, I feel a little more comfortable about renovating or doing this or that. So definitely played a big role in my abilities and or decisions to, enhance that corner.
And I think when you look at, you or an Adam Booth or a Gabe McLean or whoever, a Billy Turlesner, when you've got these facilities that you can put them, I think the whole key to this is making it so you can create that area that doesn't feel or look shoehorned in,
Right.
because no disrespect to my friends who are in the C-store business, so many of those are just kind of plunked in right there when the ones who do have them, but it's like, okay, it's like there, and it's kind of just obtrusive, I guess, or whatever. You want to go, I just want to go in and get a bag of ice, and I got to walk around all this stuff, whatever. Whereas at your place or the other places, or even the parlors where they're specifically built for that, like, the Maximilian's chains, you look at those and you can just go, and that's what they're there for. And okay, I can go to Replay and I can have a cold beer, and the gaming machines are just, they're right there, and they're shielded. But again, I think it's just it's all about presenting them in a certain way where, again, I'm not a guy they're going to bother. I'm a to each his or her own guy. But I know there's some people who have issues or whatever. But still, if you're going to have a bar, let's face it, gambling has gone on in bars since there have been bars. Yeah. And now this is just the way of government to take their chunk out of it.
Well, I think it's pretty safe to say in any bar, for the most part, I would say 98% of the bar, if I'm that's obviously a guess, but 98% or more of bars in the state of Illinois are going to have gaming in them.
Yeah.
And it's where they put them, how they put them. But at the same time, I think as long as you keep them, not in someone's face, like you just mentioned, you either want to venture to it or you don't. Yeah. And you just let the customer decide what they want to do.
Last thing to talk about is kind of your latest venture, Game Masters. Of course, you're a hunter. This is one of the hunting hotspots of the Midwest. What made you look into becoming a part of Game Masters?
Oh, yeah. So I obviously I've been a customer of Game Masters since it started in Quincy 18 years ago on where its current location. It was on the front part of the store there. Steve Brink, Don Taylor started the Game Masters franchise back 18 years ago. So I had a kind of a dealing with one of the owners, Don, for example, with Game Masters on a product that we were kind of mutually involved with. And long story short, it was kind of a entry into him and I getting involved in something, and it worked out beautiful. It couldn't have worked out any better. And what happened was Don reached out to me wanting to know if I'd want to take over his spot and become partners with Steve on the store. And I was like, at the time, I just thought I had so many things going on that I didn't really want to put, a half-hearted interest in it, and I wanted to be all in it. But ended up, couple months went by, and we worked out a pretty good deal for both of us, I guess you could say. I have, like I said, been involved with the store as a customer. I've been involved in hunting. Luckily, my dad, as a kid, has gotten me involved in the outdoors. So I've been obviously a hunter since I can remember. And I have an 8-year-old boy who's doing the same thing. So I feel like there's kind of a rite of passage there, if you want to call it. But I don't know. I honestly, Quincy is my hometown. I was born and raised here. There's just something neat about taking a store like that, or Harvey's, or even Instant Replay for that matter, or even the community bank, the things that I'm involved in. I just feel like I have a rooted system here, and not to sound corny, I don't keep using that word, but it is a cool feeling to know that you're being the distributor to a customer in Quincy, mm-hmm. a local feel to it. At Game Masters, we're a little big store. We carry the big brands that Shields or Bass Pro or Cabela's carries, but we're not a franchise. So luckily the staff out there is way smarter than I will ever be. And they have gotten that store. We have some really exciting things that we're going to do in the near future. And I'm excited to bring that stuff to Quincy. But I feel like, the store itself has such a great base, and we can just build upon it. So yeah, getting involved with it. Maybe I'm crazy, but maybe I'm not. I just feel like it's definitely something in my interest. And anytime you have something that is your own interest, you only want to make it better. So that's my plan.
And I think the one common thread, when you talk about just community and trying to do something that makes a difference in your hometown, the other thing is, as an employer, you are providing jobs to people. And, we are gone through this stretch where it's been really, really hard to find good quality people.
Yeah, that is probably the number one headache right now amongst restaurant owners, any type of retailer, any like you said, owner of any sort. I definitely feel that is the biggest headache. And, the hard part about it is balancing, a profit scale and a fair scale with employees. And obviously, we want to pay, I think every employer wants to pay their employee as much as you possibly can, but there's a balance of how do we keep the store open in the future. So I think that if you can find that balance and ride that wave, of keeping employees, that's the number one, the goal of all. But yeah, it's very tough. And
I think when you talk about that, I think the key there is having a longtime employee that has that institutional knowledge that, okay, I'm going to have to pay this person a little bit more to keep them, because if I don't keep them, I'm going to have one person come in here in 6 months and they might not work out. Then I got to get another one. Then I get another one. And it's just a revolving door.
Absolutely.
So to have that long-term employee who's got that, hey, I know where every nook and cranny of this building is, and I can go find and do whatever, it's almost invaluable these days.
Well, I'll tell you, if in my opinion, if you look at successful people, and they're only successful with the people around them. I mean, it's all about people that are willing to, jump in and do things outside the box too. And those type of employees, in my opinion, are, irreplaceable. They really are. I mean, I feel like, me being an employee of the bank, I like to be, you want to be a good employee. It's a reward thing. And, I think that the work ethic in today's world is a lot different than the work ethic. Even when I started the workforce when I was 16, I worked for a small business, and I was taught a strong work ethic from my family from those people. So I think work ethic just has declined too. So that's part of it. But at the same time, they're out there. Don't get me wrong. There's great people everywhere. There really is. It's just finding the right ones too.
My toughest bosses growing up were my dad and my grandpas, my grandparents. It was just, you didn't want to screw up. You wanted to make sure everything was right. And again, if you have a business in which you're, lucky enough or blessed enough to be able to pass it on, to have your kids come in and just, I think the best example for your kids is to see them just bust your ass. And when you're busting your ass, they're going to be like, okay, my dad, my mom, they made this thing work because they work their butts off.
Well, again, the work ethic, I think, people see that. I have friends that are hard workers, and I see their kids, they look up to that too. I mean, it's just, it's a never ending cycle. I just feel like it's thinned down quite a bit, but.
Well, I thank you for trying to keep that going, and for all the businesses that are working out here and providing jobs and benefits for folks here in Quincy and Adams County. Man, I appreciate the time.
Yeah, it was fun. I guess we'll chat again. Hopefully, on maybe we get some more chairs around this table. I'm looking around this room.
Quit trying to sell me stuff.
I'm looking around this room. I'm thinking we could do some more damage in here.
Send Jill over and have her do some staging there. There you go. All right, that's Trevor Beck, and I'm Bob Goff for our Muddy River News Business Spotlight, brought to you by Case Nuff and Schleter Insurance. Representing nearly 20 A-rated insurance providers, Case & Huff & Schleter caters to most any type of insurance. Business, farm, home, auto, and health for nearly 100 years. Their team of experienced professionals is second to none in providing coverage for your insurance needs. Case & Huff & Schleter will find the most cost-effective solution to your business challenges, and with their experienced agents, they know how to navigate the insurance markets. 100 years, an agency built on service, no matter what side of the river you call home. Give them a call today or find them on Facebook. Case & Huff & Schleter, peace of mind since 1923.